if you come down off of your breastbone, the sternum, down to where the xiphoid process is, that little tiny point at the bottom, and you kind of swing right under your ribs halfway, that's where the majority of your liver is found, right? It's underneath the ribs, so the ribs protect the liver. The liver can be lacerated rather easily. It happens a lot in car accidents.
But it regrows easily.
Oh, but it grows fast.
It's such a beautiful
You can
organ.
lose half your liver, and the rest, it'll grow back.
It's unbelievable.
That won't happen to your common sense. It won't grow back, but your liver will. Hey, everybody, it's Dr. Jack.
And Mary.
And welcome back to the Forbidden Doctor podcast. This is podcast episode 146, Fatty Liver Disease.
Ooh. Today...
Sorry. We're going to talk about some forbidden stuff, as we usually do, that's been hidden from you for way too many decades.
Yes, and we read the most disturbing story in our local newspaper about a woman that was diagnosed with fatty liver disease.
Which is kind of why we're talking about this. We've had patients ask us to talk about this, but this is really in our face right now because it was in the paper.
Really shocking, mostly because she was about my age.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm 56. I can still say that for
another
10
week.
more days.
Yes.
And she looks like she was about 60. And so that's about 3 years older than I am. And she looked like she was 90 years old.
Yes.
She has, I'm not going to give you even the link because I want to protect her privacy, but she has transparent white skin. She has age spots all over her face. She has super thin hair. I mean, her forehead hair started like at the middle of her head. She had, the worst part was the big black bruises all over her arms. And, of course, she was also obese, which is a very common, symptom of fatty liver disease.
But the thing we want to address that nobody really concerned themselves with in the medical community is what causes this.
Yeah, the article didn't either.
No. And the whole thing, of course, was just wait until you're diagnosed with fatty liver disease, wait till you have cancer, or wait till you need a liver transplant.
Yeah.
They didn't go into all the underlying factors that led up to this.
And nor do they ever. And, we could just open up a newspaper at any time and do a podcast on the ridiculous stuff they say in the medical community about different diseases. She caught my attention because she's about my age, and her last name was Hamilton, which is my maiden name. So that was kind of strange, but it was just shocking. It was just beyond shocking to me because she was so degenerated at almost my age. And the thing that was so shocking is that, of course, as all articles and all diseases, in the article it says Dr. Kilroy, that was the doctor she was using, attributes her non-alcoholic fatty liver disease to a genetic predisposition.
Oh, yes.
Just completely gets rid of all guilt. It was just not her fault or anything.
It wasn't her dietary choices up to this point.
And he said to being overweight. So, everything is lose weight and exercise. And he says the three things to do for this fatty liver disease is, number one, exercise. He does say the Mediterranean diet is good, and I like that. There's
that was a good thing to say.
That was fat. And then he said, consider drinking coffee. Probably because she drank too much soda, I suspect, because this is a non-alcoholic fatty liver disease that she had. And that's the case in most of the fatty liver diseases. We always think of it.
In this state.
In this state especially, but a lot of places.
Well, it's growing more and more across the country because of the preponderance of soft drinks, cookies, candies, cake, that kind of an intake.
Yeah, which we don't associate with a bad liver, but
we'll
it's always
the
drunk on the corner falling down, that we think, oh, he's going to have fatty liver disease. Because there were comments inside of there, too, that said, I'm really skinny, but I've been diagnosed with fatty liver disease.
Right.
But they're just sugarholics.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Okay.
It's called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease.
Right.
NAFLD.
Okay.
So anyway, I'm looking at the article. Who's the transplant hepatologist, liver transplanter?
Dr. Richard Gilroy.
Mm-hmm. It says he diagnosed her with cirrhosis, hardening of the liver, which are the end stages of fatty liver disease.
Yeah.
Because her abdomen started filling up with fluid, she felt fatigued, she lost her appetite, and as he says, the symptoms are silent.
Well, then she they diagnosed her and gave her 5 years, but then she had encephalopathy.
Encephalopathy.
Yeah, and she went into a coma.
Yep.
And she had a week to live.
Yes.
So, the solution for this, which is wonderful, wonderful crisis care, was a liver transplant.
Well, it saved her life.
It sure did. It saved her life, but nothing in the article, and I suspect everywhere, was addressed. Although he did say do the Mediterranean diet and lose some weight, and those are all good things, but it's the reason she got fat and obese.
That's it. He says the heavier you are, the more likely you are to have fatty liver.
But
it's not that being heavy caused the fatty,
No.
and it's not the fatty that caused the heavy. There's something else that caused both of those things.
Yeah, which we're going to get into.
Yep.
But because you can be a little overweight and be healthy, that's unfortunate. And you don't have to exercise like a maniac to be healthy. Mm-hmm. But anyway, we've talked about that a lot.
That's enough.
Yeah. So was there anything else? That was kind of the sad thing. But what really struck me were the comments at the end. And on the newspaper that we got this from, they have all these comments at the end. And, I absolutely just have to take my hands and tie them down so I don't comment. I have commented before, and they've been deleted or never even posted because I always go into the foundational reason.
Because you're bad.
I know, because it goes against the drugs for everything and drugs for...
If you say anything on there that's anti-drug...
It doesn't
or about
get
the body
on.
being able to heal itself.
Right.
They're not going to print it because if you look at most of the advertising in the newspaper...
On that one itself, it is.
Yep.
So anyway, somebody did comment and says, I have this condition, the fatty liver disease. There is nothing I can do but wait until it is serious enough for a transplant.
Oh, let's see, that's so sad.
That's what killed me. There's nothing I can do. Anyway,
well, from a medical point of view, that's true. From the forbidden doctor and the body's ability to heal itself point of view, there are things you can do.
And this guy did say go on the Mediterranean diet, so that's good. Then another comment was, my husband is only 43 years old, and last night we found out he's probably cirrhotic, meaning his liver was...
Yeah, he's probably been eating this. Oh, no, that's a comment.
This is a comment, yeah.
Yes.
He learned he had fatty liver disease less than 5 years ago, and then she said... Oh, this kills me. I wish we had gone vegan before last year.
Yeah, so what she's saying is that the fat caused the fatty liver disease. And if they had gone vegan and all that bad animal flesh and all that bad animal fat wouldn't have caused the fatty liver disease.
Well,
that is the state of screaming level of ignorance.
I know. But, here's the thing. The reason it's so deceiving is because if you do go vegan for a couple of months with fatty liver disease, you are going to clean out your liver. You're going to feel better. But people, that's the problem, is they think whatever made them feel better in the beginning, they just have to do
the rest of
their life, and they must continue this, and they have to do it harder and more hardcore, and that's why
then they get religious about it.
The term angry
vegan.
Thou
shalt be a vegan.
Which I think a couple months of being a vegan probably would have helped a person with fatty liver disease. I don't have a problem with that necessarily. We're not going to recommend that as the way to go, but that's what kills me is that all the comments, and that's just why I have to tie my hands down when I read these comments, because they're all about more vegetables, more salads. And I eat my salads and I'm really trying hard to stay away from steak. Oh my goodness. You made me the most amazing meal. I said it was the best meal I've ever had in my life. It was runny, beautifully spiced with pepper and salt eggs with this incredibly expensive steak. What's it called? Wyoming? What?
Wagyu. It's a Wagyu.
It was way up.
It's a 28. Yeah, you were way. It's a Wyoming steak, everybody. It's a Wagyu, Wagyu.
Oh, it was so good. And it was rare.
28-day aged Wagyu.
Grass-fed. It was super expensive. I know that. And lots of fat in it and marbled. And you cooked it rare. And then you had mushrooms cooked in butter.
Organic mushrooms, mind you. With grass-pastured butter, mind you. And sea salt, mind you. And organic pepper, mind you.
And horseradish. Wonderful spice.
I don't know if the horse was organic. They got it from. But it was horseradish.
And I'm telling you, it was just like an orgasm of food. It was so, so good. And I think, and then you compare that to a salad or dry broccoli or cooked, barely steamed broccoli. I don't know. I'm sorry. It was so incredible. I couldn't stand it. And then at the end of the article, they did talk a lot about organ donation. And
yes.
And I mean, as if, you're going to kill all these people if you don't offered to give your organs up instead of this huge, thesis on how to eat so you can get rid of this fatty liver disease.
The things you can do in your diet now, which we're going to get to.
We are.
To get rid of the fat build up in your liver. It's very easy to do.
And why it comes and everything else that you've never heard before. This is really forbidden stuff.
And then there was a statement there at the very end. I don't know if it was a misquote or the doctor is trying to be funny, but he says, listen, there's only 1 in 3 people on the transplant list will get a transplant because either people don't want to transplant, don't want to give up their liver, or they get too sick and die too fast. I think, what are they going to do for the person that gave it? Here, honey, you can have my liver. I want it out of here anyway. I mean,
I think it was written wrong.
I just think it was a misquote. Okay. All right. Let's talk about the liver.
Okay. Go ahead.
Well, it's your largest internal organ. It's not your largest organ. Your skin is. Oh, no. Some people are saying the microbiome is.
I'm saying that.
Yeah. But if you pick up a textbook now, a medical textbook, as I have here, Guyton's 11th edition, your skin's your largest organ. It sits, right to the right of your stomach.
It covers almost your whole abdomen.
If you come down off of your breastbone, the sternum, down to where the xiphoid process is, that little tiny point at the bottom, and you kind of swing right under your ribs halfway, that's where the majority of your liver is found, right? It's underneath the ribs, so the ribs protect the liver. The liver can be lacerated rather easily. It happens a lot in car accidents.
But it regrows easily.
Oh, but it grows fast.
It's such a beautiful
organ. You can lose
organ.
half your liver, and the rest, it'll grow back.
It's unbelievable.
That won't happen to your common sense. It won't grow back, but your liver will. So
you can get more.
And in the simplest of terms, the main responsibilities of your liver, to clean the blood, filter the blood. It needs to produce bile for the emulsification of fats, the digestion of fats. It will store glycogen, which is sugar. Your body has about 3 days of sugar stored up in it at any one time, about 4 pounds. Half of it's in the sugar or the liver, the other half's in your muscles. And the thing to remember, the reason glycogen is just glucose. It's a form of glucose the body stores,
but it's altered.
Which is sugar. It's been altered from glucose a little bit.
So you can have fast energy.
Yes, and it's stored in the muscles and in the liver. It's in the muscles because that's usually where the muscles need it if you had to run from the saber-toothed tiger.
Yeah,
right.
Fight or flight.
If you start fasting and your blood sugar drops, which it'll do in a matter of 4 to 6 hours, and over the next 6 hours, if you haven't been eating what you normally eat, which is usually a carb-based diet for most people, the body will start releasing this glycogen to keep the energy stores going, which will take place. It'll last about 3 days. If you're not in a fight or flight situation, just normal daily energy levels.
Or you do a 12-hour fast or something like that.
Yeah, it'll last for about 3 days. After 3 days, autolysis starts. Your body starts eating itself, which is why
you're starving.
You're starving.
You're not fasting anymore. You're starving.
You can only fast 3 days.
Yeah.
Technically, physiologically speaking. After 3 days, you're starving.
Well, that old story Dr. McBride tells all the time about the Indians she met that were on this pilgrimage.
Oh, good story.
42-day fast, they called it. And she talked to them, and they said, oh, this fast is so hard. It's just so hard, 42 days. And, of course, she knows that same thing that you said. You start starving after 3 days. And these kids were doing it and everything. The whole family was fasting, they said. But
because they only ate.
Well, that's what they said. They said it's so hard. We can't have any animal products at all.
The fast for them is no animal products.
No animal products. And they were complaining so bitterly about how hard it was.
They could eat vegetables. They could eat fruit, but they could not eat animal products. And they complained about how difficult it was.
They were little vegans, and it was
here
really
in the
hard.
Western world, we think of, well, I'm going to go on a 10-day fast. I'll go on a water fast for 10 days or 14 days or 28 days or 40 days like Jesus. That's not fasting. That's starving.
That's starving.
Let's just tell the truth,
organs.
because your body consumes its own.
That kind of digresses away from.
All
this.
right. So, like I said, in the simplest terms, your liver has a few particular functions it does, whether you know it or not. Your liver actually, and I learned this from Dr. Dobbins, one of our mentors.
Yeah.
The way he put it, that your liver is throwing itself on a grenade every day on your behalf. Because nature does not trust you to eat correctly.
Right.
So everything you eat, when it's digested, goes through the walls of the gut into the bloodstream to the liver via what's called the portal system. Nothing that you eat will get into the main blood supply of the body until it has first gone through the liver to be filtered and through all of those blood vessels. And so if what your body is living on right now is what you ate the last 12 hours, a good hearty breakfast? No, breakfast cereal or bagels or donuts and whatever.
And we'll show you how that turns into fatty liver disease. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's one thing to remember is that everything has to go through the liver, and the liver is constantly filtering. And when you throw all kinds of crap at it, you get a crappy liver.
So it throws itself on a grenade. I love that example. I think that's
to keep you alive.
And it just keeps rebuilding itself.
Yeah, because your body will do everything it can, beg, borrow, steal, whatever else to keep your blood clean.
Yeah.
And that is one of the liver's major jobs is to filter the blood so that the blood coming out of the liver back into what's called the inferior vena cava to get back up to the heart throughout the body carrying nutrition is as clean as your liver's state of cleanliness can make it.
So along with rebuilding itself daily, your liver also produces life-saving cholesterol, which we've talked about.
I'm glad you said life-saving.
Life-saving cholesterol. It produces the perfect amount of triglycerides and, the LDL and HDL, the perfect amount. It also manufactures enzymes. In fact, the liver has over 600 known functions.
Yes.
Do you hear a cat?
Yeah, I hear the cat in the background. Go away, Lucy.
So your liver also helps clot your blood just when you need it. And it also keeps the right amount of sugar in the bloodstream and keeps it constant.
Right. In fact, the liver takes on so many crucial roles within its healthy functions of the body that it's obviously we always think of it as an organ, but we're thinking of it as a gland. Why?
Yeah, because it is secreting chemicals that go to other parts of your body. That's what an endocrine gland is. It's something that goes, like your pancreas secretes the insulin that goes to another part of your body.
So it's not just an organ, it's a gland.
It's not an exocrine, it's an endocrine organ also.
And so the liver, just in the fact that it makes cholesterol.
Or bile.
Not only for cholesterol-based products that the liver makes itself, but it puts the cholesterol into the bloodstream because the body will die without cholesterol.
Yeah. So a little teeny fact there. But.
So fatty liver, let's talk about that.
Okay.
Can be caused by all kinds of different factors that are, not easily identified. But two of the known causes of fatty liver disease, and you can get this in any book on digestive pathologies that would be using in medical school or chiropractic college, same thing, is a prolonged diet, the excess consumption of alcohol, first of all. We think of fatty liver disease being associated with alcoholics, but there is what's called NFLAD, non-fat liver, fatty liver disease. And
it's a prolonged diet with high calories coming from carbohydrates.
Yes. And that doesn't get the press that the alcohol does. But both of these sources, of which the body is trying to store as energy, ends up producing this fat. And so you get a fatty liver because your high carb intake overwhelms the liver, as the liver is just desperately trying to convert all of this extra sugar and carbs that it's getting into fat. And the reason it does that is because anything that it doesn't need at the time it is digesting this, any extra energy, it will store as fat. And so the liver's transportation system just can't get the fat out of the liver and into the fat storage systems fast enough. So it builds up in the liver and other fatty organs like the kidneys and the heart and the adrenals and the thyroid. Because fat per gram, and we've said this on many podcasts, has twice as much energy as protein and carbs. 1 gram of protein and 1 gram of carb has about 4 calories of energy in it, whereas a gram of fat has 9, more than twice as much.
Your body likes fat.
That's why it
keeps it alive longer.
Yes, and it's also an insulator.
So here's the thing. Energy is super important to your body. So if you eat something that has sugar and fat in it, your body will use the sugar for instant energy and store the fat.
Yes.
So that is where obesity comes from.
When you have...
And so think donuts. That's got the fat and the sugar.
Mm-hmm.
So, And then if you add to that bad fats, terrible hydrogenated fats.
Yes.
Your donut that's cooked in canola oil or vegetable oil, then you get obese and fatty liver disease. And if you have bad sugars, just absolutely high fructose corn syrup and
corn sugar, glucose.
Yep.
Just read the labels.
Really bad sugars and bad fats. Then you get obesity, fatty liver disease, and then you get on all kinds of medications. Then it could go to cancer and death. So it is a bad combination to do sugar and fat together.
Well, let's talk about alcohol, because alcohol is energy just as carbohydrates are energy. And when you regularly take in more energy than your body can process, it will take that alcohol and convert it to fat.
Yeah, see?
See, and your body, smart and intelligent as it is, doesn't know. You and I had eggs and bacon for breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
And we probably will not be hungry till 3, 4, 5 o'clock this afternoon. And it's early in the morning now.
What time? Oh, yeah.
And because of all that fat, your hunger is satiated. Your body it's going to take that fat and use it for energy. But when you have...
cereal in the morning.
Well, a bowl of cereal is just carbs.
Yep.
You're going to go right.
Instant energy.
You eat the bowl of cereal, say at 7, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. You're going to be very hungry. You're going to be snacking. You get more carbs for a snack, carbs at lunch, carbs for a snack in the afternoon, carbs for dinner, and probably some kind of carb before you go to bed. Like Doug has his ice cream before he goes. Carb. And any time that is coming into the body, and the body does not need it for immediate energy, especially sedentary type of jobs, it's going to convert it to fat.
Yep.
Because it doesn't know you're going to have dinner tonight. It doesn't know you're going to have breakfast tomorrow morning.
It's storing it for later.
Right.
But
so it's because it's constantly oriented towards survival.
But when that storage system gets overwhelmed, okay, the liver, where the transformation, that's where you transform sugar and alcohol into fat.
Yes.
It can't get it into the regular... If it can't get it out of the regular storage areas like the belly and the thighs and the breasts and the butt, wherever, it will store it inside the liver itself.
Yeah, because it can't get it to the belly, the thighs, the breast, the butt fast enough because it's making it too fast. It gets plugged up, it gets backed up.
But that's why it puts it in the belly too, because it can get it out of the belly. It's close. I mean, it can get it out of the belly quickly.
eventually it gets plugged up itself and just leaves the fat deposited. But you're going to have a belly in most cases, not all, but you're going to have a belly before you have fatty liver.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, and your adrenals will be hurting.
And so the more fat that's stored inside the liver, the less the liver can actually produce what it needs to produce, cholesterol being one of the most important jobs, of course. And
so many processes and jobs that the liver does.
Yeah. And so in these enzymatic processes you're talking about, they cleanse the blood, do so many important functions as the increasingly stored fat inside the liver compresses the liver, because the liver is wrapped up in a very tight fibrous covering. And it can only swell. It will swell and it will swell and it will swell, but it will swell internal pressure before it starts pushing external. And the more you compress normal liver tissue, the more you're going to have a variety of liver problems.
And this is fat inside the liver. We're not talking about the bed of fat that Dr. McBride talks about.
Which is a healthy thing.
It's a healthy thing. Skinniest people in the world, we talked about this like 3 or 4 podcasts ago, skinniest people in the world will have a bed of fat around their heart, around their liver, around their organs that feeds those organs itself. That's a healthy fat. But inside the liver or inside the heart or inside the adrenals or any fatty kidneys, any fatty organ, that's when the processes of that organ are compromised. Yeah. And the liver, boy, you don't want the liver.
Well, one of the more serious side effects, as you're mentioning here, Mary, of fatty liver disease is liver carcinoma.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, and as the constant alteration, because of all these things we're talking about, of the normal functioning of the liver.
And sustained and chronic inflammation. I mean, that's what happens. That's
what I should have mentioned earlier when I was talking about all the kind of crappy stuff we eat. And that crappy stuff gets into, if you got a really healthy gut, your gut can get rid of a lot of that, but most of us don't have healthy guts. So it gets in the bloodstream,
That
gets to the
leaky gut.
kidney, does get to the kidney eventually, because the liver can only filter so much. Yeah, that's another point. The liver doesn't stop everything. It stops everything it can, but a lot of this crap gets through the liver back into the main blood supply, deposits in the joints. You get arthritis. It deposits in the eyes. You get cataracts.
Yep.
It deposits in muscles, and you get all kinds of muscle ache and pains, neuropathies. And in her case that you mentioned in the newspaper, encephalopathy, it can actually get into the brain across the blood-brain barrier, depending on what kind of medications you're on, because some medications will open up that blood-brain barrier and deposit toxins inside the brain.
Polysorbate 80 and vaccinations do the same thing.
Exactly.
Open up the brain-blood barrier. Get the toxins
so
in the brain.
it's a downhill slide that starts with dietary choices early in life.
I would love to know if she had just gotten the flu shot before that encephalopathy, because they gave her 5 years after diagnosing her with the fatty liver.
Yeah.
They gave her 5 years to live. And then suddenly she gets, it doesn't describe it very much in the article, but I'd love to know, because with that polysorbate 80 in there, bam, it opens everything up. That's the thing they put in chemotherapy drugs. So the chemo can get to the brain.
Yeah.
If you have brain cancer, they put polysorbate 80 in it to open it up to get the chemotherapy into the brain to fight the brain cancer. Well, they also put it in vaccinations. So I have no words.
Okay, let's just go here.
Okay.
Let's talk about what we recommend as addressing a fatty liver problem.
Yes.
Because it depends on the cause. And in general, treating the underlying cause, which is not talked about in that newspaper article, it'll reverse the process of steatosis, which is that's the medical term for the fatty liver, steatosis.
You said it with an Italian accent. That was sexier. You could say that again. Steatosis. There you go.
And if it's implemented at an early stage, and as we stated, this can all be reversed through serious dietary changes and supplementation.
Let me read to you a testimonial that this person put on Amazon, actually. You can go read it on Amazon with the Long Life Energy Enzymes. He was only 27 years old. His heading says, "Save my life" at 27 years. Okay? So he puts in quotes.
Read it direct.
I will. But he puts in quotes at the beginning. "You have an unidentified mass on your liver."
At 27 years old? Uh-oh.
Yeah. So 2 months before my 27th birthday, that was the scariest thing I had ever heard in my life. I couldn't help but think, how did this happen? It can't be true. It's not fair. It all started a few months earlier, just a mild case of acid reflux. Over the months, it got worse and worse and worse till I could hardly keep any food down. So my doctor told me to change my diet, and when that didn't work, she ran a battery of blood tests, which shortly after revealed my liver functions were off the charts. And, of course, the unidentified mass.
Yeah.
An ultrasound scan revealed an unidentified mass on my liver at the age of 27. All my doctors could say was, "There's nothing we can do but wait and repeat the test in 12 months. Well, that kind of passive, let's wait for it to become cancer approach seemed insane to me. So I started researching, looking for anything more proactive than just waiting for cancer. And that's when I found Dr. Jack and Mary Stockwell's he calls them Lee enzyme compound. It's our long life energy enzymes. Mary told me to throw away the diet the doctor gave me. I can't remember what it was, but I'm sure it's pretty bad.
Well, there was no more pizza and ice cream at midnight, that's for sure.
Well, I don't think that's what the doctor put him on. But
okay.
I don't know. He says Mary told me to throw away that diet the doctor gave me and got me on the GAPS diet combined with the Lee enzymes. In less than 2 weeks, the acid reflux that was driving me crazy was gone. In 4 weeks, I was back to being able to eat almost anything, including things the doctor told me for 15 years that I was allergic to, with no indigestion or reflux. That's because we healed the leaky gut. Mm-hmm. So he was told he couldn't eat those foods for 15 years earlier. Anyway, after 10 weeks, I repeated my blood tests and it was pristine. 3 months ago, I finally repeated my ultrasound. The mass just vaporized, disappeared. That looming threat, that terrible 6-letter word that whispered to me at night, stealing my sleep, was finally lifted off my shoulders. Thank God and thank Lee Enzymes. So,
Then he put in an update.
yeah, he went off of stuff and, life got in the way. He says, I recently started taking Lee Enzymes again as I was feeling low on energy and was afraid to go down the same old path once again. In just a few days, I started feeling much better, lighter, more energized. And in 2 weeks, it's like the clouds parted and summer came early this year.
Yeah.
He's quite the writer.
Yeah, he is quite the writer, isn't he? So that was an unsolicited testimonial, and it's on Amazon right now.
Yeah, at that point, it had 50 people say it was helpful. So it's Amazon's enzyme of choice.
So and I know you have consulted with people with fatty liver disease or liver problems or a diagnosis of possible liver problems in your consultations. What do you tell them to do?
Well, the first thing, of course, is a GAPS diet. So, Mediterranean's a good diet too, but I really like the GAPS diet because it gets your gut healthy again. It heals and seals that gut wall, and it rebuilds the microbiome, the flora inside. Mm-hmm. And it detoxifies you. It's a beautiful cleanse, so to speak. You don't have to go on these juice cleanses that have way too many sugars. So that's what I recommend. Do the GAPS diet. Eat only what you crave of rare meat, pastured eggs. Also eat raw eggs, as in my Mary's milkshake.
Mary's milkshake.
Yeah, wild fish, not farm fish, if you can, raw and fermented dairy, and all kinds of spices. Then I say get the sugar, bread, pastas out of your diet for at least 6 months.
Now that's all the sugar, all the bread, all the pastas.
Yeah. You don't cheat on the GAPS diet. It's not like you have a fun day. I can eat anything I want one day a week, like a lot of diets are. No. You don't cheat on this. I'm not saying you have to do the GAPS diet for 6 months, but you need to get off sugar, breads, and pastas if you've got fatty liver disease for at least 6 months. Completely. 3 months usually on the GAPS diet, you can do
because
a lot.
You've got to stop your liver from producing the vast amount of fat that it does for two things: your metabolic diet, your metabolic syndrome, and problems that are leading you into type 2 diabetes, or you're already in type 2 diabetes. Mm-hmm. The liver simply cannot keep up with this any longer.
Yeah.
And it produces more and more fat within itself that it can't transport outside the liver. So all sugar has to stop in any form.
But, for at least 6 months. And the thing is, you don't have to live a life of no sugar the rest of your life. That's crazy.
No, it's just to get this back under control and reverse the process.
Right. And then the next point is get the bad oils, such as commercial oils and salad dressings, out of your diet forever.
We've got a podcast on good oils, bad oils.
Forever.
Yep.
That one's not one you want to even ever go back to at all. And that means the canola oils, the vegetable oils, soybean oils, all these horrible, and get the good fats in, the animal fats into your diet. Then the last point I have is get the raw vegetables out of your diet and replace them with cooked or fermented vegetables.
No. Why?
Because it will just beat up your gut.
That raw fiber will it's like scratching an itch and scratching it and scratching it and scratching it until it bleeds, it gets inflamed. Well, that fiber will do that to the wall of a raw gut.
Yeah. So we're not cows. Our rumen is way down low in our digestive tract, so we have a hard time breaking down raw vegetables. We can break down cooked vegetables or especially fermented vegetables, which will also rebuild our microbiome.
Well, fermented vegetables are already half digested because of the bacteria that was fermenting.
Right. So your own bacteria doesn't have to do it. Actually, we don't even have the bacteria to break it down.
No, we don't.
No.
But a cow does not have the digestive system to break down alfalfa either. It's the bacteria that lives in the cow's rumen that we don't have.
That does not live in ours.
No.
So really, if you want to heal your gut, you've got to get off the raw vegetables. And you can have very well cooked vegetables or fermented vegetables, which would be even better. Then the supplementing protocol that I often put people on, besides the GAPS one, you need to do the GAPS one. But if you want to just go hard and heavy on this fatty liver disease, then I would get these 6 supplements. I know that seems like a lot, and I got in trouble for our last podcast.
Well, it's not a lot compared to some of your other
I
protocols.
got in trouble. The last podcast we did on hysterectomies, which I think is like a horrible thing. I'm like, I would do anything to not have a hysterectomy, especially taking your ovaries. So I got in trouble because it was too long of a protocol. So this one is shorter, but this will hit it really hard. You do the long life energy enzymes, of course, 3 in the morning, 3 in the evening. That's what that testimonial was about on Amazon. Then you do Livoplex, and you start with 1, and then you build slowly to 9 a day. Then you get the protomorphogen, Hepatrophin PMG. That's DNA. That's literally the DNA of the liver. And you take 4 on an empty stomach in the morning. And then you take SP Cleanse capsules, which will help cleanse out that liver, 12 a day, 4, 4, and 4. 4 at breakfast, 4 at lunch, 4 at dinner. Then the herbs.
You can take them with food.
You can. And the herbs, herbs always do a little better outside of food, but it's not a hard and fast rule. Silymarin tablets, 3 a day of those, and milk thistle liquid. You want 8 milliliters a day, and 4 in the morning, 4 in the evening. And that should do, those 6 products should do a very, very good job.
Yes.
Although there's no fat in there and blah, blah, blah. So you want to make sure you eat a good fatty diet.
Yeah, there's going to be fat with the animal.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You eat that diet of meat, eggs, fish, and dairy and spices, and you're good, especially if you do GAPS. And there's the fatty liver.
That's
I mean, that's it. That's the fatty liver
normally
protocol.
normally at this point, we kind of do a recap, but you just did it. If you're listening to this, back up the last 6-7 minutes where Mary starts talking about do the GAPS diet. She goes through all the things that you can do proactively, and then 6 supplements that she recommends, and thus endeth the recap.
Okay, then we're done. Let's just have this be a really short one. So if you haven't done it before, don't forget to go to our website and do the free symptom survey at forbiddendoctor.com. And if you're having problems with the very thing we talked about with the fatty liver, at the bottom of the survey, write in fatty liver disease. And, well, you could put non-alcoholic fatty liver disease.
Yes.
So you specify you're not an alcoholic. But even if you are an alcoholic, that's okay. We'll still take care of you, of course. And we'll give you a protocol. We'll give you the same one that we talked about, I talked about just a minute ago. But we'll also personalize it for you because maybe you've got some endocrine problems, or maybe, you've got something else that we ought to address along with the fatty liver disease.
Yes.
So then you'll have the opportunity to have a free 30-minute phone call, which is invaluable. Who gets to spend 30 minutes with their doctor ever? Even the nurse.
Yeah.
Do you get to spend 30 minutes with? So you'll get a free 30-minute phone call, and then understand that this survey and its protocol saves you money in the long run because you're not taking supplements you don't need. And all of that is at no charge to you.
Yeah. And if you decide to purchase the recommended supplements, because up to this point, it's free. There's no charge up to the point. And then we will show you what supplements you recommend. You can get them at 10% off if you sign up for our Text Blast. Now, these Text Blasts give you a fantastic coupon every single week. In fact, this week right now, I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Ooh, it's a good one.
But if you want to know, you just text the word healthy to 41411. Of course, when this comes out, this week will already be over.
Well, and then, too, it's going to be 3 years from now they're listening to it.
Yeah, well,
but you
true.
Still will get this discount if you sign up for it.
You'll still get the 10% discount anyway. And we'll text you back a coupon code when you do that. Text the word healthy to 41411, and we'll text you back a coupon code, which you can use on our website, forbiddendoctor.com, when you check out.
Yeah, and if you'd like a 20% off all the time, join our VIP membership. Just go to forbiddendoctor.com/VIP and listen to a short video on all the benefits. It's not just a discount. There's lots of benefits, and let's start your healing process today.
Or you can, and if this is too troublesome, you can call the office 801-523-1890. And they can help you sign up for the Text Blast.
They're really nice on the phone, too. Seriously, we have the nicest people. So you can call them. They can help you sign up for the VIP or just answer any questions about the supplementation or the protocol that we just talked about, and Forbidden Doctor's mission,
which is revealing health secrets they don't want you to know.
And remember, your patronage of our offers keeps this podcast on the air.
And let's mention iTunes for a second, because we don't do that very often, because everybody out there still listening, because some of you will have chopped off at the commercial, please go to iTunes and rate our podcast. If you liked anything you've learned so far, out of 100, and this was number 145 or 46? 146. Please go back to iTunes and rate it. We would
say something.
So appreciate that.
Yeah.
Get us to the top of the new and the hot podcast with all your simple rating. With your simple rating, it only takes a few moments, we can rise in the ranks. So if you enjoyed this at all or enjoyed any of these, please go to iTunes and leave some feedback or just rate us. It would be very much appreciated.
Yeah, we would really appreciate that. We need more ratings. And don't forget to tell your family and friends to take our free symptom survey at ForbiddenDoctor.com. And remember, it's free. No, you go.
No, you always say
you
it.
go.
No, you say
No,
it.
you go.
The statements made in this podcast about specific products have not been evaluated by the United States Food and Drug Administration and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. All information provided or any information contained on or in any product label or packaging or this podcast is for informational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for advice from your physician or other healthcare professional.
Yeah,
now,
and we're serious about that.
Yes, we are. In all seriousness, the things that we're recommending here relative to some serious liver problems, you would do that in conjunction with your hepatologist.
That's for sure, because if she hadn't got a liver transplant, she
would have died.
She would have died.
Yeah.
So it's really important to work in conjunction.
So this is never to be followed in place of your medical advice.
Never.
You make sure that if you're going to do any of this, your medical doctor knows what you're doing. So thank you for listening to this Forbidden Information, our Forbidden Podcast. Join us next time for another in-depth discussion of forbidden knowledge.
Oh, we'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to the Forbidden Doctor Podcast. If you are curious about long life energy enzymes or ageless thyroid, you can purchase them without a membership from our website at ForbiddenDoctor.com or get our enzyme formula from Amazon.com by searching the full term Long Life Energy Enzymes. Don't forget to take our obligation-free symptom survey to get a free personalized supplement protocol recommended for you by Dr. Jack, Mary, or one of our qualified nutritionists. Take the survey, get a call from our nutritionist to create a protocol and a patient login, then use that login to see your own personal protocol along with any favorites you've saved from our symptom library. Remember, our website and our clinic are here for you always.